There are some tracks in Formula One where drivers look comfortable, and then there are tracks where certain drivers look almost unstoppable. Suzuka belongs firmly in the second category, and over the last few seasons, Max Verstappen has turned the Japanese Grand Prix into something that feels less like a race and more like a demonstration of precision driving. But when engineers and analysts began studying the numbers behind his performances at Suzuka, they noticed something fascinating. Verstappen isn't just winning there because of a fast car. The data reveals a deeper story about how Suzuka's layout perfectly matches his driving style, his car's aerodynamic strengths, and his race management approach. To understand why Suzuka feels like Verstappen's playground, you have to start with the circuit itself. The Suzuka International Racing Course is one of the most technically complex tracks in Formula One. The circuit is 5.807 kilometers long and features 18 corners arranged in a rare figure-8 layout that crosses over itself with a bridge. A full race distance covers 53 laps and more than 307 kilometers of relentless high-speed driving. Unlike many modern circuits built around heavy braking zones and slow corners, Suzuka is a rhythm track. Drivers must flow through sequences of high-speed turns where one mistake can destroy the entire lap. That rhythm begins immediately with the most famous section of the circuit, the Esses. The Esses are a sequence of left-right corners that place enormous lateral loads on the tyres. Drivers turn left, then right, then left again in rapid succession, constantly shifting the weight of the car across the suspension. If the car's aerodynamic balance is even slightly unstable, the rear tyres begin sliding, and sliding tyres overheat quickly. Once tyre temperatures rise, grip begins disappearing lap after lap. This is where Verstappen's data starts to look extraordinary. When engineers analyze telemetry from Suzuka qualifying sessions, they measure something called minimum corner speed. This is the slowest speed a car reaches while turning through a corner. Higher minimum corner speeds mean the driver carried more momentum through the turn. Across multiple Suzuka sessions, Verstappen consistently carries more minimum speed through the S's than most of his rivals. The difference might look small on paper, sometimes just 3 or 4 kilometers per hour faster. But in Formula One, those numbers are huge. Every extra kilometer per hour maintained through a high-speed corner saves time all the way to the next braking zone. The result is that Verstappen gains time not in one corner, but across the entire sequence. But how does he do it? Part of the answer lies in braking technique. Data from qualifying laps shows that Verstappen often brakes slightly later when entering Suzuka's corners and rotates the car earlier than many drivers. That means he commits to the corner sooner and positions the car toward the apex earlier. Analysts studying one of his Suzuka pole laps noted that he was able to brake later and carry more speed into the corners than his closest rivals. That early rotation creates a clean exit from the corner. And clean exits are crucial at Suzuka because the next corner arrives almost immediately. Most drivers gain time in one corner and lose it in the next. Verstappen links them together. One analysis of his Suzuka pole lap found that he was the only driver able to connect all 18 corners perfectly in a single lap, which explains why his qualifying performance stood out so dramatically. But Suzuka isn't just about qualifying pace, it's about maintaining that pace over an entire race. After the S's come the Degner corners. These two turns appear quickly after the opening sequence and punish drivers who misjudge their entry speed. Degner 1 is taken at high speed with very little margin for error, while Degner 2 tightens sharply and leads into a short acceleration zone. Here again, the telemetry reveals Verstappen's advantage. His steering inputs through Degner 1 are extremely smooth. Instead of making small corrections, he commits to the corner with a single, precise turn. That smoothness reduces tyre scrub. And less tyre scrub means lower tyre temperatures. Tyre management is one of the hidden battles at Suzuka. Because the track generates enormous lateral forces. Drivers experience up to 4 times the force of gravity pressing them sideways through corners like 130R. That force creates heat in the tyres. Too much heat leads to degradation. Once tyres degrade, lap times fall quickly. But Verstappen's race data shows remarkably consistent tyre performance during Suzuka races. While some rivals begin losing grip after several laps, Verstappen often maintains stable lap times across long stints. This consistency was clearly visible in the 2025 Japanese Grand Prix. In that race, Verstappen started from pole position and controlled the event almost from start to finish, eventually winning in a time of 1:22,006.983 and holding off both McLaren drivers behind him. That victory was not just another win, it was historic. By winning the 2025 race, Verstappen secured his fourth consecutive victory at Suzuka, becoming the first driver in Formula One history to achieve that streak at the circuit. And this is where another fascinating statistic appears. The Japanese Grand Prix is historically a race where starting position matters enormously. Data from previous races shows that the majority of winners start from the front of the grid, with around 20 races won from pole position alone. That makes Verstappen's qualifying dominance even more important. Because once he starts from pole at Suzuka, overtaking opportunities are limited, the track is narrow, many corners flow directly into the next. Drivers cannot easily attempt passes without risking mistakes, so when Verstappen leads the race, he controls the pace. And controlling the pace allows him to manage tyres and energy deployment. Energy deployment is another major factor in modern Formula One performance. Hybrid power units generate electricity under braking and store it in batteries. Drivers can then deploy that energy for additional power on straights. But energy management is complicated. If a driver uses too much energy early in the lap, there may not be enough left for the straight after spoon curve, which is the longest acceleration zone before the main straight. Verstappen's race engineers have repeatedly praised his ability to distribute energy usage efficiently. Instead of deploying maximum power everywhere, he uses it strategically in sections where it creates the biggest advantage. For example, drivers want maximum acceleration after spoon curve because that leads onto a long straight where overtaking attempts occur. If Verstappen exits spoon with more electrical energy available, he reaches higher speeds down the straight and can defend against rivals. Now consider the most intimidating corner at Suzuka. 130R. This corner is taken at speeds approaching 300 km per hour. Modern cars with massive downforce can usually take it flat out, but that requires complete trust in the car's aerodynamic stability. Telemetry traces from several Suzuka races show that Verstappen often maintains full throttle through 130R with almost no steering correction. Other drivers sometimes lift slightly to stabilize the car. Even a tiny lift costs time. That difference may only be a tenth of a second in one corner. But at Suzuka, those tenths accumulate across the lap. Another factor behind Verstappen's dominance is the Red Bull car itself. For years, Red Bull has built cars that excel in high-speed aerodynamic efficiency. Their designs produce enormous downforce while maintaining relatively low drag. That combination is perfect for a circuit like Suzuka. High downforce allows drivers to carry speed through the Esses. Low drag helps maintain competitive speed on the straights. When those two elements combine with Verstappen's driving style, the result is extremely difficult for rivals to match. But here's where the story becomes even more interesting. Even with a strong car, Suzuka still exposes weaknesses. In fact, the circuit has historically decided championships because it demands so much from both driver and machine. A driver must connect all 18 corners with perfect rhythm, brake too late and the car slides, turn too early and the exit speed disappears, accelerate too aggressively and the rear tyres overheat. Verstappen's Suzuka performances show remarkable consistency in all of those areas. That consistency explains why his average finishing results at Suzuka have been so strong over recent seasons. It also explains why analysts often describe Suzuka as a driver's circuit, because when the car and driver work perfectly together, the lap looks almost effortless, but achieving that harmony is extremely difficult. Which raises a fascinating question for the next Japanese Grand Prix. Can anyone break Verstappen's Suzuka dominance? Rival teams like McLaren, Mercedes and Ferrari have been improving their aerodynamic packages and tyre management strategies. Engineers are constantly analysing telemetry to identify small advantages. Even 1/10 of a second per sector can change the outcome of a qualifying session. Weather can also play a role. Suzuka has seen many wet races over the years. Rain transforms the circuit into one of the most challenging tracks in the world. Grip levels drop dramatically. Drivers must rely on instinct rather than perfect data. Verstappen is widely considered one of the best wet weather drivers on the grid, which means rain could make him even more dangerous. But Formula One rarely stays predictable for long. Upgrades arrive. Strategies change. And new drivers sometimes deliver unexpected performances. So the next Japanese Grand Prix could become another chapter in the story of Suzuka and Verstappen. Will he extend his dominance and continue turning Suzuka into his personal playground? Or will another team finally unlock the combination of aerodynamic balance, tyre management, and precision driving needed to challenge him? Because the data tells us something very clear. Suzuka rewards drivers who combine precision, rhythm, and confidence in high-speed corners. Right now, Verstappen appears to have mastered all three. But Formula One is always evolving, and one breakthrough from a rival team could change everything. So here's the question for you. Do you think Max Verstappen will continue dominating Suzuka for years to come, or will the next Japanese Grand Prix finally produce a new winner? Let me know your prediction in the comments. And if you enjoy deep data-driven Formula One analysis like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next investigation into the hidden numbers behind every race.